We're going to actually go this way.
Mayor, John Healy.
Thanks for having us over.
In South Bend, you've had a rocky relationship with the black community for almost all the years that you've been mayor, starting around the time that you fired your black police chief, and I know you had reasons to believe that he had acted wrongly by allegedly taping secretly other police officers. But as you yourself have said, it affected your relationship with black citizens of your city for all this time. You've had dust-ups with Black Lives Matter. What is it that you're doing wrong that you can fix?
Well, I would describe it as a family relationship that's complicated. First of all, it's important for me to say that I would not have been reelected the way I was if it weren't for support in the black community. And most black elected officials who are supporting anybody in this race who are in South Bend are supporting me. This is not because they think I'm perfect or because we've been able to resolve all of these issues at home. It's because when these issues have faced us, we've worked together side by side to do something about it. Whether it was around policing, where we became the most transparent police department in the region, pushing information down to the incident level on use of force online, or empowering residents to be part of the process to for example, revise policies on how force is used or body cameras or training. Not all of that's reached the goal where, not even close to where it needs to be. In particular, I'm thinking about recruiting, where we've actually seen the diversity of the department slide in the wrong direction because of a lot of the issues that we faced. And not just around policing, but we have tremendous income, racial wealth and income inequality. And part of how we know that is I commissioned the research to tell us some of the brutal facts. Now, this is not unique to South Bend, and it's not something that began on my watch. But the question is, what are we going to do about it? And working together, we've reduced black unemployment, we've reduced poverty for African Americans, and often been able to do it at a faster rate than the country as a whole. So it's not just riding the waves of an economic recovery. But here, too, there are areas where we clearly have a long way to go. And so my focus has been on making sure that we engage to make sure things are better, that we acknowledge where things aren't where they need to be. But we also get results and do it together. And of course I have critics as well as supporters, but I believe that's the reason I have more supporters than critics.
Just to follow up on that,
Yeah.
how your polling with the the African American community is pretty low. So how are you going to overcome that? What's your strategy? What policies do you need to address? I mean, what's going on?
Well, first of all, I would say there's a lot of regional differences here. Yeah. So in the Midwest, where people know me best, I'm doing well with non-white as well as white voters. The South is certainly more of a challenge. And I get it. I don't think it's just about policy. It's about voters who have felt taken for granted by my party. And you come along as a new guy with a lot of ideas and big policies on offer. And before people care about what's in your plan, they want to have a sense of what moves you. The Douglas Plan has been praised as the most comprehensive plan on dismantling systemic racism put forward by any presidential candidate, because we look at how everything fits together. It's economic empowerment with things like the effort to co-invest in black entrepreneurs. It's education, and not just support for HBCUs, but making sure we support things like completion. It's health, it's housing, it's access to democracy itself, it's criminal justice reform, but recognizing that's not all there is to the black experience in America. I will stand by the Douglas Plan as the best piece of comprehensive policy work done on this in this election. But people also want to feel like they know you, and that's the work that we're really continuing to work to do.
Donald Trump told the Midwest that he would bring back manufacturing and that would lift the economy. Mm-hmm. What do you tell people in the Midwest?
Well, for one thing, we're in a manufacturing recession. So the only economic promise I've seen this president keep was the giant tax cut. That's it. And whether you're a worker seeing a manufacturing recession or a farmer seeing the way that he's jerked around, in particular corn, it's not just soybean farmers suffering from things like the China trade war. It's also the total inconsistency around ethanol and these so-called small refinery waivers going to giant operations. So he just has not delivered for my part of the country. I'm glad unemployment is low. That's great.
But what do you tell people when they say, how do we lift up our economy in the Midwest? What is your simplistic answer?
My simplistic answer, make sure you get paid more. I mean, there's a lot of complicated things going on, globalization, automation, technology, yeah. But also the biggest problem in our economy is blindingly obvious and abundantly simple, and it's that people aren't getting paid enough. And that's especially true in real terms if you think about how wage increases are generally swallowed by increases in the cost of higher education, health, saving for retirement. And most people get this. The simple fact that one job is not enough, that there's not one county in the country where someone living on minimum wage can afford a 2-bedroom apartment. Look, the house that I started out in as a child, talk about affordable housing, just changed hands for about $60,000. You get a good, decent house in that neighborhood for about half that. And we still have folks experiencing homelessness, and we still have folks experiencing a profound housing insecurity. We got to make sure people get paid more.
Even before you get to try out your foreign and domestic policies, you're going to have to get through the primaries. And I know that in every primary, but this one in particular, Democrats are racked with fears and indecision. The big question they're asking themselves is, who's the best candidate? So your campaign asks a lot of people. Here are all these old vets, former vice president, senators, but you should take a chance on me, a relatively unknown, young, small town mayor. Why should they take a gamble on you?
Well, first of all, we begin with this. Is it important to you to beat Donald Trump? In the last 50 years, every single time my party has won the White House, certain things have been true about the nominee. It's been somebody who was new on the national scene, had not run for president before, was calling the country to its highest values, did not work in Washington, or if they did, had not for very long, and was ushering in a new generation of leadership. Now, we've gone different ways many years, but those were the years we've come up short. Every time,
one thing, they were also male. That's another issue.
Regrettably, that one I'm fine with seeing some change. And so I recognize this is not how everybody thinks about electability, but I would say, you might want to look at that pattern and think about it.
Great. Thank you so much for coming in.
Same here. Thank you.
Appreciate it.